Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to talk about the hypothalamus. This is the class number 4 and the class number 1. I have already discussed about the physio-anatomy of the brainstem, and the class number 2 the physio-anatomy of the cerebellum, and the class number 3 the physio-anatomy of the uh, thalamus. Okay, but this is the class number 4, and the class number 4 I will discuss about the physio-anatomy of the hypothalamus. What is hypothalamus? Hypothalamus is a diencephalonic structure. What is mean by dine? This is the part of the forebrain. The forebrain is mainly divided into two parts. The telencephaline, like the cerebrum, telencephaline, which is covered, which is present above the whole brain. This is the superior part. The cerebrum, the amygdala, hippocampus, or pituitary bulb. So this is the telencephaline. But this is the hypothalamus is the part of the diencephaline. Diencephaline, thalamus, hypothalamus, epithalamus, subthalamus, pineal gland. These are all the part of the diencephaline. Okay, so diencephaline. Okay, so hypothalamus is the part of the diencephaline which is present. This is the thalamus, which is present anterior and below to the thalamus. This is the thalamus. This is the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is present anterior and below to the thalamus. Okay, how this structure is present. Okay, suppose this is the central canal. This is the spinal cord. This is the posterior lateral view, or this is the simply the lateral view. This is posterior side. This is the lateral side. This is the anterior side. This is the lateral side. But this is the lateral side, or this is the lateral side, but this is the posterior. So this is the posterior lateral side. Okay, this is the posterior lateral side of the brain and spinal cord. Okay, and this is the spinal cord. This is the medulla, the pons, the cerebellum, the fourth ventricle. So the central canal is go upward, and this is the fourth ventricle. This is the cerebral aqueduct. These are all structure as explained in the previous lectures. Okay, this is the these all the cavities and channels are filled with the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, when we move from central canal, when we move from this point, we move through the central canal. Suppose this is a man. Okay, he start moving from this point. He moving through the central canal. Okay, he walking. He continues his walking and reach at this point. This is the cerebral aqueduct. This is the midbrain. The cerebral aqueduct is the canal, is the cerebrospinal fluid canal of the midbrain. Fourth ventricle is the cavity of the which covered the pons and the medulla. Okay, already discussed previously. But the cerebral aqueduct open and to the cavity which is called the third ventricle. This is the third ventricle. Okay, this is the third ventricle. The third ventricle is occupied by thalamus. This is the thalamus. This is one thalamus. This is another thalamus. Okay, so the third ventricle occupied by thalamus from sides, and this is the third ventricle. The third ventricle is occupied from the side by the thalamus, and from the posterior side by the some another structure. One of them is the pineal gland, and other structures. But from the posterior side, from this side, this structure is covered by many other part of the brain. Okay, but the walls, the walls, the walls, and floor and wall. This is the anterior wall, the lateral wall, the other lateral wall, and at some angle this wall. So the wall and the floor is covered by the hypothalamus. So when this man is reached at this point, he is now he is standing in the third ventricle. He cross this ventricle and enter to the third ventricle, and he is now in the third ventricle, which is covered by each sided by the thalamus. When this man is go forward and reached at this point, his pips, the pits of this man is now on the hypothalamus, and this is one wall, and this is the another wall. This is the right wall. Suppose this is the left wall of the third ventricle, and this is the floor of the third ventricle, and this is the anterior wall of the third ventricle. Okay, so the man is now standing on the hypothalamus. The floor of the hypothalamus is the floor of the third ventricle is made by the hypothalamus. Okay, so now the man is standing here. The man is standing here. His feet is now there. Okay, so this is the anterior wall, lateral wall. Okay, so hypothalamus is present anterior to the thalamus and below the thalamus. Okay, so this is the general anatomy of the hypothalamus. Okay, thalamus, posterior, and let suppose these are my eye. These are my eye. This is the anterior side. This is the frontal side. This is the back side of the body. Okay, so hypothalamus is the part of the diencephalon. Okay, this is the structure. This is the anterior side, the frontal side. This is the posterior back side. Okay, the hypothalamus consists about the main 11 nuclei, about preoptic nucleus, paraventricular nucleus, the dorsomedial nucleus, the ventromedial nucleus, the lateral mini. Okay, so it consists mainly the 11 nucleus, but the mammillary body is also a nucleus. It is present at the posterior wall of the hypothalamus. Okay, this is the optic chiasma. This is not the part of the hypothalamus. Okay, this is optic. This is the connected with the eyes. Here is the optic chiasma. This is connected. This is optic chiasma connected with the olfactory nerve. Okay, so each of this nucleus perform its own function. Large, some regulate water balance, some regulate body temperature, some regulate endocrine. Every nucleus have its own function. Okay, this is the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is arise from the hypothalamus. This is the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. This is the anterior lobe. This is the stalk. This is pituitary stalk. Okay, this is the pituitary stalk. So this is the general anatomy of the mid of the hypothalamus. Okay, now the function of the hypothalamus. What is the function of the hypothalamus? Hypothalamus control sexual function, hormonal secretion function, thirst, hunger, body heat regulation, body water regulation, sexual metabolic activities, emotion. Okay, sleep, wakefulness. These are all the function of the hypothalamus. But this is the secretion of posterior pituitary hormone. This is the very most important function. What is the function of the hypothalamus? Number one, secretion of posterior pituitary hormone. Okay, ADH and oxytocin. These are the only two hormones that is produced by the hypothalamus. Paraventricular nucleus. This is the group of neuron cell bodies. What is nucleus? A group of cell bodies of the neuron is called nucleus. So this is the cell bodies of the neuron. So this is the paraventricular nucleus, while this one is the supraoptic nucleus. Supraoptic, paraventricular nucleus, and supraoptic nucleus. So this is the cell body. These are the dendrites, and this is the axon, mini axon arise. Okay, and go downward. So these are the axons. Okay, the synaptic knob. Okay, so hypothalamus produce these two hormones. How it produce? What is the mechanism of production? The mechanism of production of ADH is this. This is the blood vessel. This is the ADH mechanism. How ADH is produced by the hypothalamus? I am not going to explain the ADH in a big detail, but giving just little bit idea. Okay, so the blood vessel is passed here, here near the hypothalamus, through the hypothalamus, around the hypothalamus. So suppose this is the blood vessel which is passed near the hypothalamus or through the hypothalamus. when our blood water level is low down, so when our blood water level is low down, so the amount of water in the blood become slow down. Okay, the concentrated blood, the least amount containing blood, the concentrated blood when passed in this blood vessel, when the blood is passed, this blood have least amount of water. This is the abnormal condition. Suppose during dehydration, during the in other cases our body lost water. Okay, so when this more concentrated blood pass near the hypothalamus, they represent a specific type of receptor. Neuron cell is present, as we know that when I zoom this area, when I zoom this area. Okay, so they represent a specific type of receptor. Receptor, what is meant by receptor? Receptor means neuron ending dendrite. This is the receptor. Okay, neuron ending, as we know that this is the receptor. Okay, when blood is passed, the there is this is the extracellular space. This is the extracellular space. The water is moved from this extracellular space to the blood vessel. There, the extracellular fluid become slow down because the water move inside to the blood vessel. So extracellular fluid is slow down. Okay. As a result, water is thrown from the neuron to the extracellular space. So when water is moved from this point up to this point extracellular space, there the neuron ending the receptor having a specific types of channel, protein channel. This is the channel. So this channel is activated and produce action potential. So here the action potential, there the impulse is produced. When the impulse is produced due to the loss of water from the neuron cell, from this receptor cell, so the neuron cell collapse. When the neuron cell collapse, they send message to the posterior pituitary. Okay, and these nuclei produce hormone in the cell bodies, and this hormone is going to the posterior pituitary, and this hormone is stored in the synaptic knob. This hormone is stored here. This is the synaptic knob. These hormones are stored. Hypothalamus produce this hormone ADH and oxytocin, and is going to the through the this is the axon, and through the axon, there the synaptic node. This is the synaptic terminal. This is axon terminal. There the ADH and oxytocin is stored here. So when the impulse is go and stimulate this synaptic terminal, so when the impulse is coming, the synaptic terminal is activated and release ADH. So ADH is released by this mechanism. Okay. Okay. So this is the secretion for the ADH. ADH is so ADH is go to the blood vessel and go to the kidney, reach to the kidney, and here in the kidney it increase the reabsorption of water. When water reabsorb, there the in the blood vessel, the amount of water is again high. When the blood vessel and when the amount of water go to its so high level, there the water is go back to the extracellular space and go back to the neuron and inhibit the this receptor, and no message come there. So ADH releasement is stopped. Okay. Another hormone, oxytocin. As you know that oxytocin and ADH is produced by these nuclei and go down through its axon and stored in the axon terminal of these nuclei. Okay, so these hormones are stored in a vesicle. So this is the storehouse for the ADH and oxytocin. Suppose this is the breast. This is the breast. This is the nipple. This is the breast. When we touch this area, or suppose there is a baby, when baby is suckling the milk from this breast, so there is a touch receptor in the breast. When the baby touch his its lips with this part, this nipple, then touch receptor is activated and carry message to the it carry message to the paraventricular nucleus. Paraventricular nucleus. Here I take one mistake. This supraoptic nucleus produce ADH and stored here. Paraventricular nucleus produce oxytocin and stored here. Okay, so the paraventricular nucleus stimulate this the touch receptor stimulate this paraventricular nucleus. When this nucleus is stimulated, so the information is go down here. The synaptic knob, the synaptic terminal release oxytocin for the stimulation of the ADH. A separate mechanism, another mechanism. Uh, okay, for the stimulation of for the releasement of the oxytocin, directly stimulate the paraventricular nucleus neuron, and then neuron will stimulate action potential is go down and release the oxytocin, and oxytocin is released in this way. Okay, so this is the one function of the hypothalamus. Okay. Another function, secretion of anterior pituitary. This is the secretion of posterior pituitary. The main difference is that the posterior pituitary hormone, the ADH and oxytocin, this hormone is produced by the hypothalamus and stored in the pituitary gland and the posterior pituitary lobe. Okay, but the adrenocorticotropic hormone, growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, these are all the hormone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and prolactin. This 6 hormone is produced by the anterior pituitary gland, and this hormone is released from the posterior pituitary gland by the coming some factor, some signal from the hypothalamus. Okay, so this hormone, these 6 hormone, STH adrenocorticotropic hormone, GH growth hormone, TSH thyroid stimulating hormone, LH luteinizing hormone, FSH follicle stimulating hormone, T prolactin hormone. These are produced by the anterior. These are produced here in the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, but the releasement of this hormone is controlled by the hypothalamus. How it controlled? By hypothalamus. Okay. Suppose when growth hormone is need to be released, suppose when this is the growth hormone, when this hormone is need to be released, there the hypothalamus produce growth hormone GHRH, growth hormone releasing hormone. This is the factor. This is another hormone or factor. When this hormone when body need to produce to release growth hormone, hypothalamus detect this change in the body in the blood vessel, so growth hormone, so hypothalamus release this growth hormone releasing hormone, and this GHRH is thrown into the blood vessel, and the blood vessel carry this specter. So when this specter is reached here, this is the message for the growth hormone to be released. So the growth hormone releasing hormone release the growth hormone. Okay, so growth hormone is released. Okay, another factor, growth hormone inhibiting hormone. When the blood growth hormone level high, then this phenomena is need to be decrease the secretion of the growth hormone. So there the hypothalamus detect this change in the body, and it release growth hormone inhibiting hormone. When this hormone is released, it stop the secretion of the growth hormone. Okay, so this is one mechanism for the growth hormone. Two mechanism. Okay, another is the thyrotropin releasing hormone. This is the hormone which is produced by hypothalamus, and it stimulates the release of the thyroid stimulating hormone. When hypothalamus detect the thyroid stimulating hormone, okay, so suppose the body need to be released to be produced TSH. Dear hypothalamus release thyrotropin releasing hormone, then this hormone is coming to this one and release thyroid stimulating hormone. Thyroid stimulating hormone is go to the thyroid gland and release T3 and T4. When body need T3 and T4, then hypothalamus detect this change in the blood vessel when T3 and T4 level fall down. The hypothalamus detects this change in the blood vessel, so it produces TRH. TRH gives message to the this part of the pituitary gland. So thyroid stimulating hormone is released. Thyroid stimulating hormone is thrown to the blood vessel, and it reaches toward the thyroid gland. So from the thyroid gland, T3 and T4 is released, and the blood level of the T3 and T4 again come to its normal state. Another hormone, CRH, corticotropic hormone. This is the factor which release the ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. This is the hormone which control the adrenal cortex. Adrenal cortex produce its own hormone like aldosterone, testosterone. Okay, so this hormone is produced by the adrenal cortex. This is my kidney. There present a specific structure which is called the adrenal gland. So this picture release corticotropic releasing hormone. When released, it release adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone is go toward the this adrenal gland, and there it release its own hormone. Okay, GnRH, gonadotropic releasing hormone. This is the GnRH, gonadotropic releasing hormone. This is the factor when go to this area at stimulate follicle, the release of follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. These are the two hormones. When released and go toward the blood vessel, it reach to the eggs, to the reproductive system of the male and the female, so it control the reproduction of the female and also the other reproductive phenomena and the reproductive system. Okay, so this is the function of the posterior anterior pituitary of the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus only produce specter signaling message hormone for the anterior lobe, but for the posterior lobe it produce hormone ADH and oxytocin and stored here, but here it produce okay. Okay, I stop this lecture again and again because this is the difficult topic. Okay, another function is the temperature regulation. Temperature regulation. How hypothalamus regulate our body temperature? Because hypothalamus have two center, HGC, heat gain center, heat gain center, heat loss center. Hypothalamus have two center. One is heat loss center. It reduce, it slow down the heat. It release heat from the body. It produce heat in the body. So how it release heat from the body? Okay, so this is a blood vessel. When the blood vessel, suppose this is a blood vessel, hard blood. When the temperature of the blood is increased at this stage, now, so this is the blood with the this is the blood vessel filled by the hard blood. So when this blood is passed to near this center, this is the heat loss center. This center is stimulated. This is a receptor. Okay, this is consist of this contain many types, different types of nuclei. Okay, so it stimulate sweating. When our body going on sweating, so along with the sweating, water is released. Along with water, most of the heat from the body is released. Okay, so it stimulate heating, and the temperature of the body again go to the normal. Okay, it increase vasodilation. Vasodilation means the dilation of the veins. This is the veins. So these veins when dilate, more blood come to this area, and heat is radiate. Heat is conduct. Heat is conduct from the skin. Okay, so the skin release heat. Okay, during high heat condition, during the summer condition, so during the summer season, our skin is look like the red color because more blood is coming toward the skin because of vasodilation. When more blood comes here, so the heat is released from the skin surface. Okay, so when hot blood is passed, this center is stimulated at increased at mainly sweating and vasodilation, but many other parts take place in order to release heat from the body. Okay, heat gain center least when blood is passed from this center with low heat. This is the low heat blood when passed from this center. It stimulates this center. So this center is the function of this center is to produce heat in the body. When our body temperature is fall down due to some pathogenic condition or other disease or other condition due to the snowfall. Okay, so this heat gain center stimulate by cool blood, by least heated blood. Then this center produce directly adrenaline and noradrenaline. These are the two hormones which is produced by this gland, by this center. So adrenaline and noradrenaline increase metabolic activity, metabolism of the body. When metabolism of the body produce, their body undergo respiration. So as you know that in the respiration, our body produce ATP. So our body also produce heat. So it increase metabolic activity and produce heat, and so this is the heat gain center. Okay, another way is the heat gain center produce TRH, thyrotropin, as discussed later, as discussed in this topic later. Okay, later previous, as discussed previous. Okay, it is discussed TRH, thyrotropin releasing hormone. TRH, thyrotropin releasing hormone. This when this factor, this hormone is released by the center, it is go with the help of the blood vessel to the anterior pituitary. Here the anterior pituitary produce thyroid stimulating hormone. When thyroid stimulating hormone is, you know that there present thyroid stimulating hormone which is produced by the anterior pituitary, so TSH is released. When TSH is released, okay, the TSH is go to the blood vessel, and the blood vessel this TSH is go to the thyroid gland. So TSH stimulate the thyroid gland, and T3 and T4 is produced. So T3 and T4 work like the adrenaline and the noradrenaline. So it increase the metabolism. When metabolism is increased, it produce heat. So this is the heat gain center. Okay, so this is the regulation of the heat by the thalamus. Okay, okay. Another function is the hunger center. How hypothalamus regulate hunger, okay, and fullness of the stomach. Okay, this is hypothalamus have a specific center, a specific receptor which is called glucose receptor or glucostat. So this is the receptor, this is the center, this is the specific receptor which is present in the hypothalamus. There are present two center. One is called Stati center. Stati center. Another is the feeding center. Feeding. The Stati center stop. The Stati center stop the intake of the food, while the feeding center start feeding, start feed intake, but it stop food intake. Okay, so this is the stopping center, this is the starting center. Suppose when we take a huge meal, so when we eat some bread, some glucose, some sugar, so the blood glucose level is high. The blood glucose level is high. When this high blood glucose level is passed from this area, it stimulates this receptor. Glucostate receptor is now stimulated due to high blood glucose level. So this receptor stimulate the statin center. The statin center, when this statin center is stimulated, okay, so when this center is stimulated, it stop the intake of food because of two reasons. When this center is stimulated, it stimulate, when it stimulate, we feel peeling a full stomach. We peeling a full stomach. Okay, so we stop our eating. Another way, this is one way. When this center is stimulated, then this center inhibit this center. This is the feeding center. The function of the feeding center is to intake food. So when this center is inhibit, food intake stop. We feel when this center is stimulated. When this center is inhibited, we do not feel the intake of food. So it stimulates the feeding center, and thus we feel feelings. And thus we feel feeling of full stomach, and decrease the demand for the food. Okay, so this is the function of the state. This is the phenomena during the high blood glucose level. When we go under starvation, fasting. Okay, when we in condition of starvation, then the blood glucose level is low down, fall down. When low blood glucose is passed, now in this state our blood glucose level is very low. When this low blood glucose is passed from this receptor, at this receptor is stimulated only during high blood glucose level. So this receptor do not stimulated, because this receptor is only suitable, only stimulated during a high blood glucose level. When blood glucose level is low, so this center is not stimulated. When this center is not stimulated, so it do not stimulate this center. It do not stimulate their impulse is there. This center is not stimulated, so no impulse is go toward the static center. When no impulse is go toward the static center, then this center remain to be inhibited. This is the food stopping center. So this center is remain to be closed. So when this center is not stimulated, so the inhibition message is also stopped. When this center is stimulated, then it stimulates this center. When this center is stimulated, this center inhibit this center. Okay, so when this center is inhibit, this center is also inhibit, because no message come. When this center is inhibit, it give no inhibition message. So there the inhibition message is stopped. There is inhibition message, while there the inhibition message is stopped. When inhibition message is stopped, so this center is now inhibited for this one. So oppositely, this center is stimulated, so no inhibition message come. So we start feeding. We feel so inhibition is stop. When inhibition stop, stimulation start. So stimulation of the start, so feel empty stomach and feel hunger. Okay, so this is all about the hunger mechanism. Okay, another function is the water balance. Hypothalamus regulate our body level, our body amount by two mechanism. ADH mechanism. ADH mechanism is discussed here. So this is the ADH mechanism. When when blood water level is low down, this phenomena occur when. Okay, this is discussed later. Okay, another. This is way number one. This is two. Third center are present, and the hypothalamus. When blood vessel is passed near this third center, there the water level is fall down. There, okay. So there the amount of water is less than the normal. Okay, when this blood is passed from near this center, this is the thirst sensation center. Okay, this is the thirst center. So the water from extracellular fluid is go toward the blood vessel. There the amount of the water is fall down. So when the amount of the water is fall down, the extracellular fluid is fall down. So it stimulates this center, and thirst sensation is produced, and we therefore demand for the intake of water. Okay, so this is the thirst sensation. This is the thirst center. Okay, this is the thirst sensation mechanism. Okay, here There the osmoreceptor. There present the osmoreceptor and the neuron ending of the in the dendrite of the neuron. Okay, this there present osmoreceptor, but there but this mechanism is different from this mechanism. Okay, this is the receptor mechanism, this is also the receptor mechanism, but this mechanism is different from that one. Okay, so these are all about the hypothalamus. Another function of the hypothalamus is the control sexual mechanism. How it controls sexual phenomena, because FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, is when released, they go toward the testes, toward the uterus, and control the reproductive cycle for the female, and it also control the formation of the sperm. Many function. Okay, hypothalamus is also the center for the circadian rhythm. It is also the center for the behavior. Okay, many function is controlled by the hypothalamus. Okay, for easy understanding, look at this one diagram. This is the medulla. From this point up to this point, this is the pon. This one is the midbrain. Okay, this area is the thalamus, while this is the interthalamic connection. Okay, the main point is this is the hypothalamus. Look at this one diagram. There is another diagram. This is the pituitary. This is the pituitary photographic. Okay, so this is the hypothalamus. This is the hypothalamus. This one is the thalamus. This is the interthalamic connection. Okay, this is the corpus callosum. Okay, so this is the pituitary gland. This is the cerebellum. So this is very understanding. This is very easy understanding image. Okay, the main point is here. The hypothalamus is this is the thalamus. So the hypothalamus is present below the thalamus. Okay, it is present below the thalamus. This is the pituitary gland. Okay, this is the optic chiasma. This one is the mammillary body, and other nuclei is present in this part of the hypothalamus. Okay, this is the midbrain. So this is the midbrain. Okay, this is the medulla. This is the pon. This is the medulla. Okay, this is spinal cord. Right.